There's a hope that's waiting for you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are. You don't have to change a thing, the world can change its heart. No scars to you're beautiful, we're stars and we're beautiful.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Grace and Grit. If you haven't been here before, today our conversation is about the real things, about life, motherhood, marriage, everything in between. Here, we talk about the real stuff, the yucky stuff, the beautiful stuff, the stuff that we don't always say out loud, and the stuff that's super hard to admit to ourselves. So if you found us for the first time, welcome. And for those of you that are returning, welcome back. Today, we're going to kind of talk about two separate subjects that kind of go into one. They intermingle and they happen to a lot of us. And quite frankly, it's something that I'm going through now. So I thought maybe if we talk about it today, hopefully it could help someone make their day a little brighter or lighten their load or remind them to slow down. So if you haven't yet, I invite you to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the share button. And let's get into today's topic. Do you ever look at your day, like before you even start your day, and you already feel behind? Not necessarily because something has went wrong and you're not even late and nothing has really even happened yet. But just looking at everything you feel like you need to get done today, well, it feels like a lot. And in our minds, we start listing it all out. We're making lists. Sometimes I even make them on paper. What needs to get done. What we got to carry over from yesterday that we didn't finish. What we've been putting off that we haven't even started yet. What we should be doing, we make that list. So now, before the day's even started, we're already putting pressure on ourselves and we already feel behind. And the thing is, all that pressure is coming from ourselves. It's not coming from anyone else. It's not coming from an actual deadline. And it's not coming because something is just super urgent and needs to get done. It's coming from our own expectations of ourselves. How productive we should be, how on top of everything that we've got going on, how we should feel while we're doing each task. And the truth is, we don't always realize how heavy that is, how heavy it gets, because we make it feel normal. We make it feel like it's our responsibility. It's our obligation. It's just what we have to do. And some days we expect way too much from ourselves. Actually, most days. We try to fit too much into one day. We're trying to do everything, to be everything, to handle everything, to finish everything, all at once. And, I mean, it's an impossible task. But yet, when it doesn't happen, we feel like we failed. Even if we get a measurable amount done in a day, we still feel like we failed if we haven't completed our whole list. If we haven't handled everything that we set out to do, then we failed. It doesn't matter that we handled things that actually mattered. It doesn't even matter to us if we showed up the best way we could. To us, it doesn't feel like enough. Because in our head, there was more to be done. And that's the part that gets us. Not what actually happened, but what we thought should have happened. And I've had to catch myself a lot lately, especially in those thoughts. Because a lot of times I'll look at the day and I didn't do enough. I wasn't enough. I didn't get enough accomplished. But in reality, I did a lot. I accomplished a lot. I carried a lot. I was there. I showed up. I was present. I may not have gotten everything done, but I mean, somewhere along the way in our life, we have started believing that everything has to be done right now. That if it's on the list, it's got to be complete. We have to have that check mark. We have to have that validation. And if we don't get to it today, then somehow we've lied to ourselves and told ourselves that we're falling behind. We failed. We're not enough. We didn't try hard enough. That's just not real life. Real life has limits. Time has limits. Energy has limits. And you have limits. That is not a bad thing. That's a human thing. But we move and we act like we don't have limits. We move like we should be able to do it all, handle it all, stay on top of everything every single day. And that pressure that we put on ourselves comes hard. Because now it's not just about what needs to be done. Now it's about how much we expect ourselves to carry. And when we carry too much, surprise, surprise, it gets heavy. And then it's even the simple things, the normal tasks. Even the things that we normally handle without even thinking, they become heavy weights that we carry too. Because we're not just doing that one thing anymore. We're doing it while thinking about everything else. And that is exhausting. Mentally, emotionally, and physically. And then on top of that, we're frustrated with ourselves. Because we spend the rest of the day thinking, why can't I just get it together? Why am I so behind? Why does this feel so hard for me? And it's not that you can handle your life. You are. You're handling it. But you're trying to handle too much at once. And there's a difference in that. Because the problem isn't you. The problem is the pressure. Pressure to do it all. The pressure to keep up. The pressure to never fall behind. And at some point, you have to challenge that. We have to face and admit that not everything needs to be done today. Not everything is urgent. But when everything feels urgent, we treat it like it is. And then we're rushing. We're overwhelmed. We're trying to move faster than our energy allows. And that's when we start to feel and spin out of control. And that the shift isn't doing more. It's actually doing less on purpose. Not avoiding things and not ignoring responsibilities, but being able to choose and prioritize what actually matters today. And letting the rest wait. And I know that sounds simple, but it's not always easy. Because letting things wait, well, that feels uncomfortable. It'll make you feel like you're falling behind, and it can make you feel like you're being unproductive or lazy. It can make you feel like you're not doing enough. But doing everything and burning yourself out in the process, that's not productive either. And it isn't sustainable. And it will catch up. And then that's the part that we don't always connect. Because the pressure you carry during the day, it doesn't disappear when things get quiet, it follows you and it builds. And most of the time, you don't even realize how much it's been affecting you until you finally slow down. Most of us don't get a lot of quiet time, a lot of me time, not real quiet time anyway, not the kind where your mind finally has space to catch up with everything you've been carrying because, well, life stays moving. There's always something to do, always something to handle, and there's always something that needs your attention. And most of the time, we just keep going. You get up, you move through your day, you take care of what needs to be taken care of, you handle the responsibilities, and you show up where you're needed. And you don't really stop long enough to ask yourself how you're actually doing. You just keep going. And from the outside, oh, it looks like you're fine. But what people don't always see is what it takes to keep going like that. Because there's a difference between functioning and being okay. Most of the time, we're simply functioning. We are not okay. Not truly. I mean, we're getting the things done, we're showing up, and we're keeping everything moving. But we're doing it while running on something that's already low. Everybody's seen the lights in your car, on your coffee pot, on your laptop, on your tablet, your phones. There's always warning lights that go off for pretty much everything we have. A filter needs to be changed. Your windshield washer fluid is low. Hey, add water to the coffee pot. You don't have any. There's always lights that go off. Well, we don't, we don't have a light. And sometimes it's hard to tell when our light comes on because it's not staring us directly in the face. But when you're running on something that's already low, like your energy, your patience, your mental space, your emotional capacity, well, your light's on. All of them. And you're tired. But the thing about that kind of tired, you don't always feel it right away because you're busy. And when you're busy, you don't have time to feel it. Have you ever heard that phrase? I don't have time to be sick. I don't have time to be sick. So you push through. You keep going. And that same pressure that tells you to do everything today is the same pressure that keeps you from noticing that you need rest. We tell ourselves, we'll rest later. We'll rest when things slow down and calm down. We'll take a break when everything's handled. But everything is never fully handled. There is always something else. Always another task. Another responsibility. Another thing that will need your attention. So later keeps getting pushed back. And you keep moving forward until something changes. Until something or a moment where finally things slow down. And then you realize, I can't push this off anymore. Maybe it's when you don't have anything immediately pulling your attention. When everything else pauses. And then you feel it. Not just a little tired. Not just, I could use a nap tired. But that deep kind of tired. The kind that sits in your body and soul. The kind that makes everything feel heavier than it should. The kind that doesn't come from one long day, but it comes from a lot of days stacked on top of each other. And still, we ask, why am I this tired? I mean, nothing crazy happened today. Today wasn't even that bad. So we get confused. But the truth is, we're not just tired from today. We're tired from everything. From all of the days we pushed through. From all of the moments we didn't stop. From all of the times that we kept going when we needed the break. From all of the mental tabs that we have opened in our mind. And from constantly thinking about what needs to be done or what we forgot to do, what we still have to handle, and what's coming next. From carrying all of these responsibilities that doesn't have an off switch. And to be honest, if it did, we wouldn't switch it off because we're constantly needed and we're constantly thinking ahead and we are constantly trying our best to make sure everything is taken care of. And none of that feels overwhelming in the moment. I mean, we've gotten used to it. We've adapted to it. We've learned how to function inside of it. But just because we can function in it, it doesn't mean it's not affecting us, because it is. And it'll show up in small ways first. Your patience a little shorter. Your energy drops a little quicker. Things that normally maybe wouldn't bother you, they start to get under your skin. You feel a little overstimulated a lot easier than before. And you feel overwhelmed a lot faster than you have before. You don't have the same mental capacity. And what's scary is, most of the time, we don't even connect it to being tired. We immediately blame ourselves. We think, why am I this tired today? Why is everything irritating me? Why can't I focus? Why do I feel off? That's not random. It's buildup. And we don't give ourselves permission to acknowledge it. Because we've convinced ourselves that being tired only counts if we have a reason that sounds big enough. Like something major had to happen, it has to be obvious to everybody, and we've had to earn the right to feel that way. But you don't. You don't need something dramatic to be tired. And you don't need an explanation. You don't need a breaking point to justify it. Sometimes you're just tired. You've been carrying a lot for a long time, and you haven't slowed down long enough to feel it until now. And when you finally do feel it, sometimes it will catch you off guard. And then you'll realize that you've been running on empty longer than you thought. Like that gas light has been on 4 miles and you are pushing it, and now you're literally on fumes coasting into the gas station. And that realization can be uncomfortable. It'll make you look at your pace. It can make you look at how much you're holding. It'll make you realize you've been pushing through more than you've actually been processing. And for a lot of people, that is super duper unfamiliar. And it can feel wrong, especially when you're used to constantly moving. Stillness is strange. Stillness feels unproductive. It feels like you should be doing something. Like you're just wasting time. You need to get back up and keep going. But sometimes what you actually need is to stay there for a minute. Do nothing. To sit in it. To recognize it. And to acknowledge, I'm tired. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a defeated way. Just in an honest way. Because the task and the responsibilities and the things that we handle every day, we can handle those because we acknowledge them. We know they're there. We know we need to take care of them. We put them on our list. But when it comes to us, well, you can't take care of something you won't acknowledge. And ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It delays it. And it'll show up later. in your mood, in your reactions, in your energy, and how we respond to people, our partners, our kids, how we handle situations. Because when we are tired, everything takes more effort. Everything feels heavier and harder, and everything requires more patience than we actually have. Our lights are on telling us. And that's when we don't even acknowledge the problem. We just start feeling like we're the problem. We're not showing up the way we want to. We're more irritable, withdrawn, and way more overwhelmed. And on top of being tired, now we're being hard on ourselves. And that is just straight up unfair. Because now we're not just carrying everything that made all our lights come on. We're carrying our own expectations and weight and problems too. We expect ourselves to keep going like nothing's wrong. Stay consistent, no matter how you feel. Show up the same way every day. That's not realistic. You're not the same every day. Some days you have more energy. Some days you don't. Some days you have more patience. Some days you don't. Some days you feel clear and focused. Some days you're going to feel scatterbrained and drained. That is part of being human. Why do we try to push past that? Why do we try to override it? Why do we try to keep the same pace no matter what? Because eventually it catches us. And instead of brushing past those moments where it shows up and it tells us that we need to slow down and take a breath, what if we started listening to it? Why do we immediately try to fix it? Have we acknowledged it? Maybe, but not in the right way. Because we'll just tell ourselves to push through. But why can't we give ourselves a little space? Not to quit, not to stop everything, but to adjust. It's not about doing less forever. It's about recognizing when you need to do less right now. Maybe it's about understanding that your capacity isn't unlimited and your energy isn't endless and your mind needs breaks and our emotions need space. And giving ourselves space doesn't mean that we're falling behind or we're not doing enough. And it definitely doesn't mean that we're failing. It just simply means that we're paying attention to what matters. And that matters. Because when we start paying attention, we start responding to ourselves differently. We will be able to recognize when we need a pause, when we need to slow down, when we need to step back for a second. And these are small adjustments. But these small adjustments, they can change everything. They don't fix everything. They don't magically make everything disappear. But they help. And they keep you from running yourself all the way down to empty. Your light's on. It's been on. We've been pushing it. These small breaks can keep us from running out of gas on the side of the road and having a whole nother problem to face. They keep you from pouring from something that's already empty. And over time, that self-awareness, it builds. It does. But you know what it builds? It builds balance, sustainability, and it builds a new way of moving through life that will actually support you instead of draining you. And that doesn't mean that you're never going to be tired, because life is still life. Life be life. Responsibilities are still there. Things are still going to get busy. But the difference is you're going to be able to notice sooner within yourself, okay, I need to take a pause. And you won't wait until you're completely drained and on side of the road out of gas to recognize it. You're going to catch it earlier. You're going to adjust quicker. And you're going to respond to yourself with more awareness. And that's going to change how we move through everything. So if you've been feeling that kind of tired lately, the kind that doesn't make sense at first, the kind that shows up when everything is finally gets quiet, or sometimes right in the middle of chaos, the kind of tired that feels deeper than just needing sleep, the kind you can feel in your bones. Take a moment. Don't rush past it. Don't dismiss it. And please don't minimize it. Just acknowledge it and remind yourself. You do not have to run at the same pace all the time. You're allowed to slow down. You're allowed to take a breath. And you're allowed to have moments where you don't push through. And that doesn't make you less productive. That doesn't make you less capable. It makes you aware. And awareness is what keeps you going in a way that actually lasts. So if today is one of those days where everything is finally slowed down and you're feeling it, don't fight that. Listen to it. Give yourself a little room and move forward. And in a way that actually takes care of you too. Because I told you at the beginning of the video, I'm fighting this too. So that's why today's video won't be uploaded until after 4. It's 4:04 p.m. right now where I'm at, and I'm recording. Because when I woke up this morning, that's when the quiet hit me. And instead of rushing and putting together something that may or may not have been anything worth viewing, I gave myself time to pause. And yes, I'm not going to lie, in my head was the stress. Because it's supposed to be up at 10 and you started this, you committed to this, you should have consistent video post uploads, and you're failing and you're not doing this right, and you're never going to be successful, and this channel doesn't even matter because you can't post it when you said you were going to. But then I paused and I remembered I started this channel to be able to give myself a voice and to help remind others that they're not alone. So if the only thing that I worried about was how it looked, well, then I would be fake. Because I started this as real, honest, just the real honest truth, grace and grit, and how it shows up in life, and how you have to have it every day to fight through. So today, I didn't worry about what my channel was going to look at. I worried about myself for a little bit. And then guess what? I still got my stuff done, everything done. But I took a little time for me to reset and pause and take a breath first. And I hope you won't fault me for it. I really, really hope you won't. Because this is life and life doesn't stop. And I would rather be real and honest and fully transparent with you guys than to just make this facade of having a perfect life and telling you to push through. Because you know what? It's hard. When you get that grace, it is absolutely wonderful. And we count our blessings all the time. But we don't always talk about the ugly, dark parts that are the grit of life. The parts that make us feel less than we actually are. And today, that's what I had. I had a day where I was faulting myself. I was coming down on myself because I was tired. It caught up with me. But I was also able to recognize, whoa, girl, you got to take a step back. Because if you keep pushing through, then all you're doing is hurting yourself, hurting everything around you, because you got to be good. My cup's got to be full for me to pour something from. Girls, my gas light was on, And I spun back around and I went to the gas station. And you know what? I pumped my gas and then I got me a little water and a snack too. I took a break. And I'm good now. Because I just needed a small one. So with that, I hope you guys don't fault me. Because sometimes it's obvious we're going to be inconsistent here. Because life be laughing. But we're real. And we're honest. And none of us are going through this alone. Life is crazy. It's chaotic. And it gets us in so many different ways that half the time we don't even realize what's wrong with us. We think it's us. We think we're failures. But you're not going through this alone. We're all here. We're all in it. I hope you guys have a great day and a great rest of your week. Thank you all so much for your continued support. I will see you guys next time.
There's a hope.